Hello, everyone, and welcome to LinkedIn Live with the headshot guy, John Cassidy, all the way from the UK.
Hi, Tina. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you, John, so much for joining me today on LinkedIn Live. I really appreciate you taking the time to explain to us how we can look our best on LinkedIn and explain to us how does a remote photo shoot work?
Yes, yeah. It's all changed, hasn't it? Everything's changed over the past year or so, and we're all looking at different ways of doing things. And I always look at the positives of things. I'm a very positive person, and always look for those positives. And the positives that come out of COVID are, the fact that a lot of people have found new and better ways of working. So.
And we are having this conversation, me from Belgium and you from the UK.
Yes.
So that's fantastic. So we actually met also on LinkedIn to a friend of ours, John Esperian, because he had a remote photo shoot with you, and I got really curious, and it was back in the springtime when Belgium was still in the lockdown, and yeah, many people I think experienced that their photo wasn't up to date and they couldn't go to a photographer, and then this happened. So please explain, what is a remote photo shoot?
Well, a remote photo shoot is like this as a Zoom call or any conferencing, but we actually use the high quality camera on the mobile phone. So rather than using the front camera, we use the rear camera, which allows us to actually shoot in the high quality. In fact, we can actually shoot in a raw mode, which gives us a great, a huge file and lots of quality there. So rather than the grainy sort of web image, it allows us to shoot. And say we can shoot anywhere in the world, and it's fantastic. I mean, last night, 1:30 in the morning, sorry, midnight here in UK, I was photographing two people in Australia. So at 9:00 in the morning their time. So one of the disadvantages is now that we're on call all the time, but that's where the clients are. So I allowed myself an extra half hour in bed this morning to make up for it.
So people, this is how it works. So my phone was like this. So the other side of the phone was facing me. So you can use a tripod or an assistant. I was using my daughter, but Rachel in the US, she was assisted by her husband. So they hold the camera, so they will see, and John will give the directions, go up or down or left or right, and I could only see the camera. And so many times I wasn't sure which left or right it was, so we had so much fun.
That's part of my instructions. Is I say it in fun, but it's also quite serious. Is to know which is your left and right. And the problem is because I'm now directing the person holding the camera to move their left and right, and also directing the person we're photographing, whose lefts and rights are completely opposite. So in fact, sometimes I just say this way or that way, just to. But that's the thing. The shoots, it's all about making it a fun and enjoyable experience. It's all about getting someone's natural personality, and if you can make that fun, and even having fun with just the lefts and rights is the simplest form of that. I mean, it's a 50-50, and I say to people, actually, if they hold up their left hand and put their thumb out like that and look at it, if you look in reverse, you've actually got left on your body anyway. So if in doubt, just hold up your left hand to know which side your left's on.
So I didn't only get a profile photo, I learned the left and right as well. So thank you so much for that. So let us see, we have Vanessa here from joining us from Belgium. Oh, Vanessa is a friend of mine. She's a graphic designer from Brazil. And I want to thank her for the thumbnail and the logo. So she is a brilliant graphic designer. Thank you so much, Vanessa.
Was that the one that done the design for this? That's great. I love
Exactly.
that. I love the two eyes. I mean, it's fantastic. So we can get the two headshots in there.
So I think you had really good explanation that you sent before the photo shoot. So what to do, and I was really shocked because I thought I wanted to come with a black turtleneck, and in the description was like no black and no turtleneck. I was like, oh.
I know black's not one of a photographer's favorite color because it can drain all the color out of the skin and can drain the light as well. And if you're just wearing black under here, it can also draw the eyes away from the face. You know, I like bold colors. You know, colors are good. I mean, I've got my orange. Well, it's my orange cushion on the chair for positivity, but color in the shot really helps to lift that. And you're Mrs. Pink, aren't you? Really? So yeah, we had to get you photographed in pink. But color makes a huge difference what you're wearing, and you're only seeing the top half of it really, but it just helps lift that shot completely. And again, with polo necks, they tend to hide the neck because what we like to do is long necks are good. So we try and get people to sort of extend up and then push their jaw out. So we get a nice firm jaw. And it feels really odd, as you know, trying to do that. You feel like a bit like a chicken. You can overdo it though. If you start doing this, then you pushed it a bit too far. But a jawline it's always good to have a great jawline. And it helps you look more engaged as well. You know, when you're in conversation with somebody, when you're just on a one-to-one conversation and you're sort of leaning in and you are more engaged. And this helps, just doing that a little bit helps that engagement, helps you appear more engaging when you look at somebody's photograph. And that's what it's all about. It's about getting something that's, in fact, I've got an acronym, which is here. It's all about the face, which is friendly, approachable, confident, and engaging. Is it friendly? Would you pick up the phone and talk to that person if you saw them? Are they approachable? Again, would you talk to them? Is it confident? I mean, the confidence comes two ways. Is the picture giving you confidence, i.e., do you think you look great in your picture? Because that just puts you on a different plane. And does that give other people confidence in you? We got a saying. I mean, we were talking about this just before the call about this Ronseal moment. Do you look like? Does it do what it says on the tin? If you're in finance or in banking and quite got quite a serious audience, then you sitting on the bar or on the beach in your holiday clothing with a drink in your hand is not really wouldn't give me the confidence that you are possibly the person to make contact with. And again, is it engaging? Does it look? Are you engaged with that? Is there eye contact, for example? Are you? It's just about the face. Simple, really. Remember that acronym.
Yeah. So it's really important to. Some people have their faces facing somewhere else. It's not engaging. It can be your best photo, but the point here is that people would approach you so that you would look friendly, and if you have a smile, people are much feel easier to reach out to you. And if you look in the camera and if you have a friendly smile, that's even better. And if you have a neutral background, because sometimes there are other people in the picture, and there are so many. There are so many programs, apps that you can use, free ones to take it away. It takes seconds or minutes.
Yeah, I mean, the profile photographs just should be you. You know, it doesn't matter if there's a celebrity in there. That people don't really bother, about that. They just want to see you. You know, and sometimes when you see two people in a profile photograph as well, you wonder which one is it. You know, which person is the person that the profile belongs to? Because you may not recognize the celebrity. I mean, it may be a famous face, or it may be a famous face to certain people, but nobody else knows who it is. And this is all about, looking at the camera is very important. The smile is super important. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't like smiling. One thing that we never do in our shoots is tell people to smile. We want them to smile.
Yeah.
We want them to smile, but it's got to be a real smile. And that's why we make the shoots a bit more fun and engaging and enjoyable. Because, I mean, although you can do selfies and that yourself, which is really good, the difficult thing is to actually engage the expression. And it's all about the expression. It's getting that warm engagement and a natural smile. Now, a natural smile actually comes from the eyes. So rather than just telling people to smile, because that will just come from the mouth. We all remember those school pictures when we were this high, and the photographer there smile, and it's just that cheesy grin, which is just horrible, And that's one reason why people don't like smiling, because they remember those old school photographs of, the mum's still got them hanging on the wall in the living room. It's all about a natural smile, and it's called a douche-on smile, and it actually comes from the eyes. And you can tell whether the smile is real or not by just covering up the mouth on pictures and just looking at the eyes. The brain is designed to spot a fake smile or to spot a real smile, and that comes from the eyes. So if you look at photographs, and one of my sort of litmus tests when I look at photographs when we're photographing someone is to cover up the mouth and just look at the eyes and see what the eyes are doing. And the eyes should tell you that whether it's smiling or not. And then if you lift the hand away, or to see the mouth again, that should be equally smiley, rather than if you look at the mouth is smiling, and the eyes are, out to lunch, as we say, So that's how you can tell, and that's one of the key things I always look at in this, trying to get that natural smile out of people.
Yes, and I think now I do the test every day. I use a mask, and I can see when somebody's smiling when they have a mask on, because their eyes are smiling or not. So it really gives it away.
It does.
So we have Karen here from Cambridge. Hi, Karen.
Hey,
nice
I recognize that headshot as well.
A nice one. Where did you get your orange chair from, John?
Oh, I'm actually cheating. It's not an orange chair. It's actually an office chair, but I got a bit of a sore back, and it's actually some orange garden cushions that I'm using. So the garden chair cushions, and but it goes with my orange for positivity, as Karen knows as well, and that positivity, orange, and the Dutch connection.
Oh yes, of course. The cheese and the wooden shoes.
But it's more the orange. That's, I think, the Dutch people are happy all the time because they just live that orange life,
Yes, so. I was there on the King's Day, and everyone was in orange, and it really stands out and makes them look very happy. So we have another question from Jennifer B. How frequently should you update your headshots? Very good question, Jennifer.
Very good question. Yeah, I think there's I would say every day, but then again, I don't think we'd be too busy then. No, I think you need to change your headshot on a reasonably regular basis, especially when you change your look. If you change your hairstyle, I mean, not that I have to worry about my hairstyle, but if you change your hairstyle, if you change anything about your appearance, then you should really update your headshot. So, I mean, a couple of, every 2 to 3 years, I would say, is good to get a nice refresh. Because in 2 to 3 years' time, your brand, your messaging, and all the other sorts of things might have changed as well. And also, one good thing about changing your headshot is it re-engages you with your network. because as soon as you put up a new profile picture, people that notice it actually start to comment again. Oh, that's a great headshot, and that starts a conversation. And that's the important thing, is starting that conversation, because that conversation then could go anywhere. You might not have met somebody for a year, 18 months, even longer. You put up a headshot, and then that reconnects you. So it's a good conversation starter. It's a good icebreaker, really, or a good way to reconnect with people. So every 2 to 3 years, when you've and it's good to have a range of shots. And the thing is, it's not as difficult these days to get it done. It is super easy, especially when we're doing especially when you're doing the remote stuff. The investment for that has come right down. So it's not as if you need to invest huge amounts of money these days.
Yes, and I was really surprised that the whole remote shoot took 20 minutes. Like in 20 minutes, what can you do in 20 minutes? Nothing. But it was really from the beginning until the end, it was 20 minutes, and I had so much pain in my cheeks from laughing the whole time. So it couldn't even have been longer. And we got so many pictures, and it was such a positive experience. And you explained everything in the emails before, which app you needed. So I as a client, my experience was really positive because I knew what would happen. And but I think what was the key here is that I got to know you through other people who had had the photo shoot with you, because you're giving the driver's wheel to somebody else on your phone, so you really need to trust the person. And really, you had worked with other friends of mine, so only knowing you remotely, I had all the trust, and it was really a lot of very, very good experience.
Well, that's how lots of business is done. It's through trust. It's through knowing. It's through your network. It's knowing. Asking for recommendations. And that's how most of our business comes in. It's through word of mouth recommendations. That's like any business. You work with people that or the people that somebody else that knows them. So that's the beauty about things like LinkedIn. We're getting connected, and if we don't know someone, there used to be the thing that was at 6 degrees of separation. I think that's come down, to maybe 3 or 4 now. You can more or less get to anybody via 1, 2, 3 other people, which you say is the power of LinkedIn or online networking, and connecting over the world as well. Now, it's no longer, I used to go sort of networking in small local business groups, which is, in the town, so you knew lots of people in the town. Now we're networking, it's all over the world. And, that's, it's a global business,
Yeah, that's actually, I wanted to talk about that as well. I saw your project. That was what made me even more want to work with you. The Joy 200. So
Yes.
taking pictures from people from 100 different countries, and you didn't have anyone from Belgium. I was like, ooh, I volunteer. So that's really very interesting. Tell me more about that project.
Well, my purpose is all about joy, confidence, and positivity. Bringing joy to people through their shoot. To have a fun experience. Then that leads to confidence, because you get a more confident image of yourself. You're more confident in yourself, people are more confident in you, and that leads to more positivity. So it just all goes around. So my Joy to 100 was to sort of celebrate, being able to photograph people remotely. And I thought, well, if I can do this all around the UK, why can't I do it in 100 countries around the world? So, using the power of LinkedIn, reaching out to all these people and finding out, okay, who do we know in so and so with this country? So we've done, I think I've probably done about 50 odd countries so far. I've done all the major ones, so now it's just looking for the little, the smaller ones. So if anyone knows anyone in Uzbekistan, for instance, then I don't think I've photographed anyone there yet. So there's a few little countries.
I will find one.
Yes, and a few little countries. Estonia as well. I mean, we've got a colleague now in Estonia who we're going to photograph up in Tallinn there, which is your home.
Wow. Yeah.
So and it's just about letting people experience the fun and enjoyment of having the photographs taken. That's the
and I wasn't even aware that it works or what remote photo shoot is, and many of my connections here on LinkedIn who work as photographers, they hadn't heard about it, and the good thing is that you don't need anymore an iPhone. It's possible to do it both with Android and iPhone, so everyone can have it taken remotely.
Yeah, I think the difference is, the quality on the cameras these days is fantastic, and it's a tool. If it's in the right hands and you know what you're doing, if you understand lighting, if you understand how portrait photography, then it's easy. I mean, this is just a tool, and it's in the right hands. You could have a £10,000, €10,000 camera, or a £1,000 iPhone. It's a tool. You can use it, and it's the thing about the cameras on them these days, that the quality is fantastic, and far that exceeds anything that's needed for the web.
I can witness that. It's amazing. So Karen has a question. Would it be okay to rotate the fat pictures you made? I choose one, but could I put a different one up in, say, half a year, or is this my logo?
Well, I think another thing is your face is your brand. People recognize you by your face, and it's people buy off people. So just using that. I mean, you can use other images as well. I mean, the thing is, when we do shoots, it's not just looking at the camera. We do other shots as well that can go on banners, for example. So if these looking away shots, for example, you could have like a call to action shot. So you could have your headshot on one side of the banner, but see, if you're looking at the profile on the left, and on the right you could have a shot looking in of you actually, I'm just trying to get the angle here because I'm not sure my left and right for that. But on the banner shot on the other side of the banner, it could be you sort of holding out with your products or something that you do, or pointing up to your call to action that's on the banner. Or even if we can photograph people as if they're speaking to a conference, and if that's what they do. So there's lots of other uses for headshots or for photographs of people.
I think it's also John Espirian writes in his book about it, that you should have the same picture on different platforms as well. So the one that you have in your email signature and in your Dropbox or Gmail or whatever you're using, Instagram, also Clubhouse, that people recognize you. Because when I see somebody with a different picture, and especially when they are further away, you don't even recognize, and that's a missed opportunity.
Well, it is. I mean, your face is your logo. It is your brand. So if you've got that, I mean, you see the top. If you relate it to a big company brand, Amazon or Google or whatever, Apple, it's the same logo wherever they are. And it's instantly recognizable, and you are instantly recognizable by your face. I mean, the unfortunate thing about some of the bigger brands is there's no faces behind them, and I think every business should have a face or a number of faces, so you can actually see the people behind the bigger brands. For us who are on the smaller side of the businesses, work for ourselves or got small companies, then, it's easy for us to get that face out there. But I think the bigger brands, if you actually be able to connect with people that worked at your bank, you saw them, for example, you saw their faces online more often, then you get that more human connection, that trust. So I think that's what a lot of big businesses are missing out on, that because they haven't got a number of faces that people recognize as part of their brand.
Yes, and there is something that we struggle with, and maybe you can explain why people don't like to have their pictures taken.
That's the big question, really. I mean, the thing is, we each see two images of ourselves. We see the one reflected in the mirror, and then we've got this other one which is up here in our minds. And there's a gap between these two images. And quite often what we think about is not what we see. I say people see their perceived flaws. When you look at the mirror, all they're looking at is things that they think that's wrong with them, which is only in their minds. You're not looking. You don't look at everyone and looking at their perceived flaws. Because you don't know what they are. And it's closing that gap up. It's getting people confident with the way they look. This self-image, getting a positive self-image, which is part of the thing about the positivity as well, is and the confidence is getting people to have a positive self-image. So when they see themselves, and when people comment on their photograph, I mean, a number of times, I got my photograph on my business card, and you hand that over, and people say, "What a great picture," and that immediately sort of, yeah, it is. And that immediately gives you that extra confidence, that because they've just given you the biggest compliment by saying they really like your picture. So they've given you a huge compliment, which gives you the confidence. That conversation then can go anywhere. It doesn't matter, because you're like, yeah, thank you, and that's just that positive reinforcement. But so a lot of people, people think other people are photogenic. I mean, we were having this conversation as well earlier about the lady who's hired a photographer to go and spend an hour or so with her and her family to take some holiday photographs, to follow her around, which is absolutely brilliant. But I think everyone's photogenic. It's just been, it's been able to see that, it's been able to see past those perceived flaws. We're all different. I mean, otherwise we'd all be, we'd all have the same profile picture, which would be very good. So
it's a myth that there are people who are photogenic and others are not. So we are all photogenic. Some are just more. So we all have it in us, and
we all have it in us. It's just having it's the confidence. I think that's what it is. It's the confidence that we are, and it's just getting nice, relaxed pictures. Some people, there's some people who hate the camera. They just run away from the camera every time the camera's pointed. They just go. There's some people that tolerate the camera. So yeah, okay, I've got to do it, so I'll do it. And there's other people that love the camera. Some people that just the selfie the selfie revolution. The Kim Kardashian selfie all the time. And my daughter's the same. She's, every time you look at her, she's on her phone. I don't think she's taking pictures. You just seeing how she looks. But yeah, I think everyone's it's just getting the right, getting all the conditions right, and if you know what you're doing when you're taking the photograph, and get the lighting right, and get the posing right, and get the composition right, and then you can, there's great photographs to be had of everyone. And then it's just that gap that needs to be closed, that self-image gap, between what they think they look like and how the rest of the world see them.
Yeah, and don't compare yourself to other people. And she was saying that she gets red eyes on the pictures. Most of the pictures that other people take of me, I close my eyes, so I look like I'm sleeping. So we all have those insecurities, but that doesn't mean that you should hide from the camera, because I really like to follow her content, because she posts her pictures, and it really makes more relatable content, and it's just part of the whole package. So I think it's so I see with older candidates as well that they have pictures that were taken 10 years ago. So they look like another person. They don't look anything like what they look like today. And I think here on LinkedIn, that's the platform where experience is valued. So you
And
don't have to look like 20. It's
well,
really valuable to have wrinkles and be yourself.
yeah, and trust as well, because and I know, quite a few people whose pictures are at least 20 years old,
Yeah.
and they won't change it. But the thing is, especially if you're a candidate going for going for an interview, if people have looked up your LinkedIn profile, and then you turn up for the interview and they're looking for this person, and this person turns up where you look nothing like it, it's that other trusting. What else are you hiding? Why? And the same with people that haven't got a photograph. This is digital age. You've got to, you just got to get in line, really, and it's what people expect. Minimum requirements these days.
Yeah.
One thing you said there earlier about you close your eyes as well. I mean, sometimes that's down to the cameras doing a pre-flash, which actually can cause your eyes to close down. What I tell people is actually prepare for the shot to be taken. If you know that the cameras, someone's going to take a photograph of you, then mentally prepare yourself so you are ready for it. So you do know your angle, and then you're just holding the eyes there. And because you're consciously holding the pose and everything, then it's not a subconscious quick blink reaction because a bright light's gone off. It's that you're actually prepared, and you actually you'll get a much better shot that way. So you got to just squish those eyes a little bit and just hold those muscles.
Don't fall asleep.
Don't fall asleep. No.
Let me see. Jennifer asked, Karen, that's a great question. I have headshots in different outfits and different looks. I have been rotating them periodically.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's fantastic. And it just keeps your network thingy as well. I mean, not too, I wouldn't do it too often, but and again, one of the trends at the moment is the coloured backgrounds just to help the image pop as well. I mean, I've got an orange background, same as Karen, that for the positivity side of things. But those colours, just really help, especially when you're seeing, images on, for example, on the LinkedIn feed. They're very, very small, so you need to use that maximum space up. And again, if you've got a little bit of colour added to your brand, as a complementary colour, or colours are all psychological as well. If it sort of blends with your, matches what you're wearing, then that all helps. It all adds to, to making your image pop, and people being able to see that and recognize you.
Yeah, because there are some people on LinkedIn, I remember their picture, but I don't remember the name. So, and when they change the picture, then I'm like, oh, you can't put them back.
That's quite, because that's one of my things. Obviously, being visual, I recognize pictures, I recognize people. I can even tell, and I know when I photograph people. I photograph you at this event, but putting the name of that as well is one of my things. Because I photograph so many people, so to remember everybody's names is quite difficult. But I can actually recall. I mean, that's the thing. A picture says 1,000 words. Unfortunately, the 1,000 words that I remember don't include the name. but I do remember, we photographed that person at this event, and these other things going on. So, so some. In fact, I get phone calls all the time from previous clients, and they say, "Oh, it's so and so," and I've got a really great filing system, so I immediately just type it into the Mac, and then the pictures come up. Oh yeah, I know you. We photographed you, so and so.
So, that's how we remember. So don't change your picture too often, because people remember your name and your picture together. So it's a brand, but really, if it's been 10 years, now that there is the remote possibility, so reach out to John or have your picture taken.
It's just you've got to. I mean, you've got to find a photographer you're comfortable with. I mean, that's the thing. When you're in a photo shoot, it's a personal experience. So you have to have somebody that you connect with, and there are lots of photographers out there, and there are lots of specialised in different types of photography as well. And there's lots of people that can, lots of great photographers who spend all day in the studio, and then they're quite happy photographing still life, objects and things like that, computers or whatever, because they're not necessarily people. They're technically brilliant photographers, but they don't necessarily have the people skills. Portrait photographers, people photographers have got those people skills, because it is about that connection, that energy between the two people. I mean, that's we've got to immediately connect. I mean, if I do a corporate shoot, for example, we get 40 people in, you've got to immediately connect with those 40 people over that day, because you need to get them to a place where they're comfortable, they're confident, they're relaxed, they're giving you they're feeding off your energy, to get those great shots. It's no good if I went into a shoot and smile, turn left, turn, that monotone stuff. So, end of shoots, we're just exhausted, because you put so much energy into getting the energy out of the other person and then capturing that. But that's the fun. That's why we love doing it. We feed off that energy.
Yeah, I remember a school photo shoot, I think in 1993. Because we had our name tags, so the photographer could see my name, and I was sitting there, and she called me by my name, and I was like, oh, how did she know? And I can still remember it today, because she really made the effort to connect with, even if you were, I don't know, 1,000 kids waiting in line, she really knew what could break the ice.
Names, remembering people's names is very good. I mean, I do a little trick. Part of my other stuff is all about positivity, and I do a weekly newsletter, as a weekly dose of mental sunshine, where I've given sort of positivity tips and things like that. And one of the recent ones is when you go into a shop or a restaurant or wherever, and you see somebody's name on their badge as somebody that's serving you, the assistant or things like that, is to call them by their name. They're there all day, and doing the same thing. But if you actually notice them, and you can easily see them as you're waiting in line, spot what their name is, and just ask them, hi Tina, are you happy? And it just makes a difference to their lives as well. Just a small thing, but it just rather than just ignoring them, as a lot of people do, and carry on with their day. Just acknowledge they're actually people, and they're serving you. So it's nice to acknowledge that fact.
Yeah, I think it's really important. Always when I'm interviewing candidates as well, I make the biggest effort to make them feel at ease and relaxed, because there are many interviewers who think that the strategy of stressing them out to see how they act on pressure, test them. I don't like that style at all. So I really want them to feel at ease, and when I see that they are not, I talk to them until they really can be themselves and relax, and the results are totally different.
They are, because you react better and you react more positively when you're in a relaxed state of mind. If you're tensed up, then you're not going to be thinking straight. You need to relax, and that what's the point of stressing people out? Life's too short. We're here to enjoy ourselves. We are here to enjoy ourselves in life, to be happy. We are designed to be happy, but it's all this other stuff that goes on, and there's so many people that aren't, and they're unhappy, so they think the rest of the world should be unhappy as well. It's looking at all the positives. And one thing I do is ask people, when I meet people, it's a strange question, but are you happy today? And it stops people and it makes them think, well, actually, am I?
Rather than now I'm happy. Yes, thank you.
I am happy. But it makes, because otherwise it's the habitual. I'm okay. How are you? I'm okay. How are you? And it doesn't mean anything at all. It's more, it's just a different type of question. And again, it's those people that we meet as well in the, who serve us in the supermarkets or whatever. Are you happy today? So it just makes it different, makes it fun. You may as well have fun in life.
Yeah, it takes you off from the autopilot, and I think what people appreciate, like when I talk to a candidate who maybe somebody who has been made redundant, not because of their own performance, but because there were something that the company decided on a global level. So if you just listen to their story, they will be so much happier, so much more positive after having talked to you than before you started. So that's always my aim when I connect with somebody, that after our conversation, that they will leave a little bit happier and on a more positive note than when we started.
And we're going back to their confidence as well there, it's giving them confidence back. Because if they have just been made redundant through no fault of their own, then the confidence is going to be a little bit dented potentially. And that's one reason why, a good photograph will help boost that confidence up in those times as well, to make them feel good about themselves. Because, there's all these things, you are what you think. And if you are confident, if you think, if you see a picture and think confidence, then that every little helps. As a famous supermarket over here's slogan is "every little helps," but it does. It's all those bits and pieces that we need.
And it's also the same thing. It's not either you're confident or not. We are all, and it's a skill that you can build up. So. And that's really, really important and you can really boost your confidence with a nice picture. And it really helps you. Like when I look at my wedding pictures on a rainy day, I'm like, oh, that was me. So I that's me. So I can be proud of myself and I can look back at those happy memories.
But again, it's the picture is triggering that emotional memory, and you're photographed there on the happiest day of your life, so you bring back those happy memories as soon as every time you see that photograph. And that's one thing we try and do in the studio as well. I mean, you remember every time you look at your photograph, you're going to remember actually that was a great fun, and that will bring back those sort of that the happy cocktail of drugs, But that's what it's about. It's about looking back and making that emotional connection, and bringing back those happy feelings,
Yeah, our friend Gillian Whitney from Las Vegas. I have been hearing so many rave reviews of the Hedgehog guy. Brilliant.
Thank you. Well, I mean, it's great to just have I just love photographs. I love my job. I just love photographing people, meeting people, and talk. I mean, I'm really nosy actually, because I and one thing with the remote shoots that I miss slightly is the one-to-one in the extra one-to-one interaction we get in the studio. Because I could just love talking to people and listening to their stories. And sometimes in the studio, I can just sort of almost rest myself on the camera and just talk to people. and it's just having that conversation, which again, that helps the process of getting them relaxed and confident. But it's more about finding out about people, because you don't know who they know, what they are, what they're doing, and there's so many little connections that all come in. There's serendipity.
And you have taken pictures of people from all around the world, but also you have traveled so much. So you had a story about Estonia and you're traveling with your family. So I was like, okay, you can connect to any person on this planet.
Yeah, Estonia. We went to Christmas. Went to Estonia for Christmas one year. It was beautiful. Christmas Day, we were in the square, and the snow was proper snow. It was like falling in just like this, and children were singing carols, and it was just wonderful. It was really, really cold, but that was the whole point of going there. Loved it. No, I've been very, very lucky. I've been a photographer all my working life, so that's quite a few years. So I started off, in the Royal Air Force, in the forces. So as a photographer, and as photographing all sorts of things while I was there, flying in fast jets. And I guess my best moment, my best career moment, was I photographed the Queen, officially photographed the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh at St James's Palace. So yeah, that was back in the days of film. That was this wasn't remotely. This was actually in person. Which was before a formal dinner. So I photographed them before a formal dinner, and they went into the dinner, and then I had to go and process the film, print it up, frame the picture, come back to the palace to present it to the Queen when they come out of the dinner. So yeah, that was quite a nerve-wracking experience.
Really, what could go wrong?
Well, lots. That's the thing, a lot more, because at least with digital things now, you can actually take the picture and you can see it. Right, I've got it.
Yeah.
There it wasn't. You didn't know whether you had it or not until 45 minutes later, after you'd processed the film. I've got something on the film, and then to print it. But yeah, that was a really good experience. But yeah, it's to me. And then I worked for the Times for about 8 or 9 years, and doing sports and sports features, so photographing lots of famous, sports personalities. But to me, they're all people. They may be, photograph, David Beckham and Michael Schumacher and Lance Armstrong and all these famous sports people at the time.
Oh gosh, I'm honored.
But they're all people, And again, it was the interest. To me, the interest was listening to their stories, listening to the stuff that they would tell the reporter, and just be fascinated, and then get some photographs to go with the article to encapsulate all of what they've been saying. So it's just that fascinating with people, and sometimes, what the Times, taught me was to work, sometimes you have to work really, really quickly. You had like literally 2 minutes to get a photograph, which was going to go on the front page or in the inside pages of the newspaper. And so, you couldn't just do a quick, this had to be really, creative, and you had to, think on your feet a lot. So that, the technical side, it was just, it was just ingrained in you. And it's just, and again, it's the people, it's getting the people to do what you wanted them to do in photographs. Certain people used to say, well, why do you want me to do that? Well, I'm just trying to create a great picture for you. I can take a rubbish picture of you in the paper, but that I don't want to do that, because that's my reputation as well, and it's your brand. So
I remember you telling me, relax your left ear. And I was like, which one is the left one? Instructions are really.
I must say, I didn't ask the Queen to do that. I think I would like to be thrown out the palace and put into the tower.
That was my question. Did you ask the Queen to do the same?
No, not quite. There was a little bit more formal. There's a little bit more etiquette involved in there. So that was but I still got the shots. But no, the fun and the humour element comes in just to relax people. Again, it's just getting them confident from the camera, especially the people that are nervous. I mean, I love
everyone.
Well, a lot of people, yeah, a lot more people than you would realise. Come in and say, I'm your worst client. I hate having my photographs taken. And to me, that's they're the best people I like photographing, because I want to change the way they see themselves,
The mindset,
give them that confidence, and take them through the session, and for them to look at their images and think, actually, yeah, I do look okay, and that gives them the confidence. The joy, the confidence, and then makes them more positive. They all sort of just goes around in that circle. I mean, the joy, confidence, positivity is quite a unique thing to me as well, because obviously joy, confidence, positivity, the initials are John Cassidy Photography, JCP. So and I was looking for that for ages, and then it just dawned on me, and it's just like, it's one of those light bulb moments, something you're looking for. And but yeah, it still connects up really, really nicely.
And it's contagious as well. So it's when you share it, you get more of it to yourself as well. So
just imagine we were all like that, and we're all sharing joy, confidence, and positivity, and how much better the world would be. How much more fun we would have. And especially after, say, the last year, 18 months of people, there's we just need that. We need to take that time out. In fact, one of the things I've been doing as well is my a photo a day for wellness, which is trying to encourage people to go out and take photographs. So when they're going out and about, is to stop and see things, and to actually, rather than just take a quick snap, is to stop and look at things. I was doing a lot of walking through lockdown, and I've got my interest in taking normal photographs, and just seeing the light and seeing things. So I started a group on Facebook called A Photo a Day for Wellness, and anyone's welcome to join that and just post pictures, or just look at the pictures and get, it's not a critique site. It's all about positive images, and it's all about people just posting things. And a lot of people on there really, really improve their photography as well. There's some great pictures on there. And again, it helps mindfulness. It helps that when you're going out and about, instead of head down and stuck in your phone, it's sort of looking up and looking around you. I mean, the other, in fact, last Sunday I went out for a walk, and I was sort of navigating myself through this sort of overgrown pathway. I'd done that before, but it was all overgrown this time. And I was sort of looking down to watch where I was going. And I looked around, looked up, and there was these beautiful foxgloves, this wood, and there was there's the forest and this sea of pink foxgloves, and it was like, oh my goodness, So I just was taking photographs of that, and it's just amazing what you see when you stop and look around you. And then when you see something as well, it's working out, okay, well, what is nice about that, and just taking that moment, that time, that sort of present moment, and looking at stuff and thinking, oh, actually, and then looking around it and looking at it from a photographic point of view, where's the light coming, which angles are good on this thing and that. And again, it's just that like mindfulness through photography and through walking and posting up and sharing that with other people.
Yeah, I once heard a photographer say, somebody asked, well, what is the best camera? And he said, the camera that's with you. So
yeah, exactly. And we've all got, we've all got a great camera with us these days. It's a tool. In the olden days, somebody used to capture, if there was a big news event, there was a very small chance that somebody got a photograph of it. Now everybody's got a camera in their pockets, and it's covered from all different angles. So yeah, absolutely. It's knowing how to use that, and it's just getting out there and taking photos, enjoying it, enjoying it. That's the thing. And that's what I say, the group, there's no critiques. It's not like a camera club where people post a picture and say, and lots of people, oh, you should have done it this way, you should have done it. It's not about that at all. It's about encouraging people to get out.
Empowering.
Sometimes we put little themes in there as well. So, it could be the color orange, go and find something orange. And then everyone sort of just looks out, for orange things, or look out for a heart, or look out for something. And it's just there's a couple of people in the group, and they've been posting every day as well. So it's since we started in January, I think. Christina from Lithuania, and Penny from not far from here, where I live in Bracknell. And they've seen their photography just come on leaps and bounds, and they just really, and now it's in that habit as well. It's getting the habit, the habit of doing that. And it's forming the habit of happiness as well. That's what it's about. It's all helping that mindfulness, helping that.
It has a positive side effect.
Everything's got a positive side effect, and it's just looking for those positives. That's the thing. It's looking for the positive side of things, and it's how you can see the positive in everything. It's how you perceive it.
Like you said, focus on orange, or focus on finding somebody who smiles with their eyes when they have the mask on. So
or focusing on someone that can relax the left ear properly.
Exactly. So to wrap up, Vanessa said, cool project. Really, check out the Joy to 100 project. Which countries?
Yeah, there's the Joy to 100, which is the project we're doing just for the individual headshot photography. But the other one is called A Photo a Day for Wellness on Facebook. And message me on LinkedIn or something if you need a link to that. And it's an open group, and it's a great little community there.
I will check it out, and I also think that if you're interested, connect with John. He takes great pictures from our friends from all over the world. There are many who have the LinkedIn profile picture taken by John. So, and I wanted to invite you here on LinkedIn Live because it was such a pleasant experience. So picture says 1,000 words, but what went on around the photo shoot was so much fun, and I wrote a post about it, but I wanted to have a conversation with you so other people would also find out about it.
And you did one of your lovely cards as well, one of your lovely drawings, which you sent me with some chocolates. So thank you for that.
Oh.
Yes, I enjoyed some Belgian chocolate. I had a rare treat. So,
we got great chocolate here in Belgium.
You do indeed. You have good beer as well, but I'm. So no, thank you for inviting me as well, because this is my first LinkedIn Live as well. So it's been a fantastic experience, and thank you for all the questions. As I say, if there's any more questions, then just fire away. Message me on LinkedIn, and we'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you for everyone who joined us, Jennifer, Gillian, Vanessa, and see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.